Tech cocktail sessions, educational and inspirational talks from experienced startup founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about what to talk about because my co-founder Natalie talked yesterday, and she does a fantastic job, as you were all here and saw that, about talking about culture, culture fit, and all of those things. So first, thanks, guys. Our director of sales, Blake, actually swam on the swim team here with Frank. So I was trying, right before this, I was texting Blake. I'm like, do you have any dirt on Frank? Is there something that I can reveal? He's like, no. He was the irritating good kid. So there's nothing. He's like golden child. Also wanted to thank Zappos and Tony and all that for the downtown project. That's like incredibly inspirational. So what I settled on was, okay, I've been in 3 startup companies. I've raised around $30+ million. Like, what are the faux pas? What are the stumbling blocks that I've seen actually raising money? And I've made many of them. So what I had first bit of advice is don't waste your time. So go do research on the set of VCs. Go out and look for all of your competitors out there. What VCs have actually funded those competitors? What VCs have funded companies that bought those competitors? Make a very thorough list. Look for what partners that they have used inside those portfolios, so you know who to target when you go into the portfolios and you ask for certain leads or warm introductions into those people. And then also look for what their investment thesis is. And they could be B2B, they could be B2C, they could be geographically oriented. I think the fund out here at Andy, they mostly invest in Las Vegas companies, isn't that right? Yeah. So I had a little story with one of those companies, or one of those VCs we were talking to out on the West Coast, and went in there, and the advice that we got back was, you guys shouldn't do business to business at all. You should go after as many consumers as you can get up on this RoundPegg platform and evaluate them, and then you'll have this great sourcing database, and don't worry about revenues. We'll figure that out later. We've got money for you. Trust us. Right? All of my companies have been B2B, so I don't trust that. I'd like to kind of build revenues and sort of hedge that and go, maybe I don't need VC money. Maybe I can sneak up on this and not have to use that. But with that being said, take the meeting. So go ahead and take those meetings because you don't know where they're going to lead, right? So that meeting with that particular VC led us to another VC who they thought, oh, well, they might be interested in this. I can give you an introduction because, work in the network, and it's a very kind of a small network among the set of people who invest in companies. And they led us to another VC who's tracking us right now and could be, could add a lot of value into what we're doing. And kind of as part of that, the old adage of don't ask for money, ask for advice, or ask for advice if you want to get money, and ask for money if you want to get advice. So go in there kind of low key and ask for some advice, and that may lead to money. Find out what it will take from them. So if you find some VCs and they're like, yeah, this is really interesting to us. We'd like to track your progress. We don't think you're quite there yet. We think that if you hit these certain milestones, it'll be interesting to us. We have some other portfolio or other companies that we're tracking right now that could that we think we might take down. So at this point, it's your cue to ask them, what will it take? What will it take for you to write a check to us? Is that some set of milestones? Is it some set of users on your system, user growth, MRR growth? What is that thing so that you can then go back to them? So now they're in the driver's seat of the car going, okay, I've thought about this. And I told Tim and I told Natalie and I told whoever it is in the meeting that it's these things. And oftentimes that moves when you go back to them, but it's at least something that you can go back and say, hey, I've made this progress, and here's where I'm at, so what's the deal? don't screw up the deal with your future past, which is now. So the deals that you're putting together, and those could be customer deals, those could be investments that you're taking in. A personal anecdote, first company that I started raised an angel round. It was about $600,000. About half of that was from this angel he kind of did this part-time, and he had some extra money from his wife, who was an heiress to some large fortune. It kind of turned out to be disastrous. And what what ended up happening is, because of some other dynamics, and we were kind of green, admittedly, at the time, as the first company that we'd raised venture capital for, they had negotiated in full ratchet anti-dilution, and we had priced the round, and we had priced it, like, what should it be? So the net result was, when we went back to VCs and actually raised a significant round of $4 million, it was slightly down from what the original round was that we raised in this angel round, which this one particular VC said, nope, I have blocking rights. I'm not going to approve you raising this wonderful round that's going to be beneficial for everyone. He kind of went sideways, and we had to negotiate with him to make that round happen, which meant I had to take a ton of my stock and give it to him to make the deal happen, and it was messy. And there's all kinds of other things that can kind of queer your deal, one of which is not getting your IP locked down. So if you came out of another company, started this company, and you didn't have permissions for the rights to that IP when you came out of the other company to start it, you got to have that. That's got to be clean. Messy cap tables where you may have a co-founder, and the co-founder decided, hey, I need to support my family, I'm going to leave. Maybe you didn't have founders agreements between each other, and so they took off, and they own 20, 30, 40% of your company. So you got to clean that up, because VC or an institutional investor is never going to invest in you if somebody who's not contributing to the company has a big chunk of your company. Get something out of it. This is a really good piece of advice, I think. So when you go into the VCs, and part of their due diligence process is to go out and talk to some of your customers. But one of the best things in an early stage company is ask them to give you introductions into potential customers. So we've taken down in the past, and even in RoundPegg, we had a fairly large telecommunications company that was as a result of a VC giving us that introduction and walking in there with us to kind of observe how we sold, right? But we killed it, because we ended up selling into that company, which became our first marquee customer, which kind of helped us get off the ground and really prove out some of the technology. So not only with leads, but you can, like I said, mine for additional investors or business partners or alliance partners. So who knows where those things lead? Take the meetings and kind of mine those to try to get to other organizations that can really accelerate your business. Taking action. So one of the big things, and especially if you haven't raised money before, you don't have like that cred, you're not Tony with, I've had all these successes and I can just basically pull money in. I'm not saying it's easy for you, but do what you say, and make sure you keep people up to date with, here's our progress, here's where we think we're going to be, and then go knock that down. It's the over-deliver kind of vibe that you want to get across to them. So especially if you're a first-time entrepreneur, you basically want to set expectations, you want to over-communicate to these people, and then you want to be able to knock it down. And this is ongoing. So what I found with RoundPegg is, we have a great set of investors in. I was trying to close out a round here about last July, August, and there was one investor who had expressed interest in putting some additional money in. He'd already put in over his pro rata. So I called him up, and he didn't respond, so I gave him another call, and it was over Yom Kippur. And I called him again the next week, and he's like, Tim, I've got a couple pieces of advice for you. He's like, don't call me and my family on the weekends where it's a major holiday and I'm hanging out with them. And then also give me more updates. give me more frequent updates about what's going on so I know what's happening with the company and I can make those decisions. Okay, point noted. So little course correction there, and have gotten that back on track, and it's a great investor. And the final point is, I know I gave you the advice to don't ask for money, ask for advice, but now ask for money. If you get to that, if you get to that point, and you kind of know that these guys are really into you, and they've talked to a lot of customers, and they've done this and that, you basically say, and you don't do this in a partner meeting, but you go take the kind of coach or the lead partner that's tracking your deal. You go out to dinner and you say, dude, put in a term sheet here. This is the only way this thing is going to get done. And so, for us, when we came out of, or actually when we were still in Techstars, and it was leading up to demo day, and so one of the things, and this was through some advice from some other entrepreneurs, mentors of mine, took them out to dinner, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to give this a try, and kind of went through halfway through the dinner, and I'm like, okay, 2 martinis in, this is probably the right time. Hey, man, so here's what's happening. We got demo day coming up. There's going to be a few companies that come out of that with some decent term sheets. The ones that do are going to be the ones that are exhibiting the most momentum. I think you should give us a term sheet right now, and going into demo day, that's going to really launch us and create more scarcity for the deal, and we can just drive this thing home. He's like, I think we can do that. Like, yes. So we ended up not closing the deal with them, but it actually it got us enough momentum to get another term sheet, and kind of were able to negotiate that and get the whole deal done. So that's my set of lessons, and it's always an adventure, which makes it the greatest job in the world.